And we're back. We're back at it again. I'm back. This is Jose Trujillo, world's greatest living artist. Guys, I was talking to you earlier, a few minutes ago, about the importance of blocking time. Blocking out time. This is the single most important thing anyone can do to move their shit forward. If you want your business, your whatever to move it forward, this is the single most important thing. I keep missing it. Like, I remember it, I understand it, and then I have to like remind myself again. Like, oh, okay, this is what I need to do. Because what happens is that human beings tend to forget everything. We forget. I mean, we forgot what we had for breakfast last night. What we had for breakfast last night. What we had for dinner last night, or what we had for breakfast yesterday. We tend to forget everything. You know, if we're not constantly remembering what we're doing, we tend to forget it. So I've noticed that it doesn't make much sense. None of it makes much sense unless you're constantly looking into it. Unless you're constantly looking at it, you're constantly treating it, you're constantly taking care of it. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, why? You may be an artist that is looking to exhibit your work, and you have a daytime job, right? Come back from their daytime job. Maybe you have tops 3-4 hours if you're not married or have a relationship that is requires of your attention. Maybe you have 8 hours. If you have children, maybe you have a little bit less. I don't know. Regardless of, right? You have 8 hours to sleep, 8 hours to do whatever you need to do, and 8 hours to work, right? If you don't block, like, see, here's the thing, guys. We tend to block hours for stuff. We are so badly trained as human beings that we're like, tomorrow I'm gonna do this, and it's like, dude, why are you saying tomorrow? Like, why do you need 24 hours to take care of something? Why is it tomorrow? It's such a bad, ingrained fucking thing, you know. It's a bad habit. I know it's turned into a rant. Man, when I start talking about stuff, all of a sudden it turns into rants. It's an ingrained thing. It's a bad habit. It's really because we're trying to stay comfortable. We are trying to stay comfortable, and this is the thing that kills all dreams and all purposes. Human beings are trying to stay comfortable. There's a battle in each one of us between being comfortable and wanting going after what we want. And if you're not careful, you're gonna win by you're gonna lose by being comfortable. You're gonna lose by staying comfortable. If you're afraid of going and talking to a gallery, you will lose at the game of being an artist just because you're trying to stay comfortable. You're trying to stay safe and comfortable, and you don't want to get a no. You don't want people to tell you, no, I don't want your artwork here, or your artwork is not for this place, or no thank you. You don't want to hear none of that, right? Nobody does. Who in their right mind does, right? Nobody does. But it's the uncomfortable thing that will kill you. It's the comfortable thing, I'm sorry, not the uncomfortable. The uncomfortable thing is the one that will get you to your dreams and your aspirations and your goals. The comfortable things will make sure you never get them. Never. Like, no way. And so why am I saying this? Because I've realized that we make events out of things. We're like, oh man, I'm gonna go stretch a canvas. I'll do that tomorrow. This used to be me all the time. Like, I'll do that tomorrow. And it's like, tomorrow? Like, what the hell does that even mean? I have 24 hours in a day, okay? Let's say that you work 8 hours of that in a daytime job. You sleep 8 of that, okay? You're left with 8 hours now. If you have responsibilities, you're married, you have children, whatever, right? Let's say you live with a partner. You have a responsibility of attention towards someone else. Maybe you end up with, I don't know, if you're smart about it, if you're like disciplined about it, you'll probably end up with 6 hours of those 8 for you to take care of whatever you need to take care of. It shouldn't take 6 hours to do a task. It shouldn't take 6 hours to stretch a canvas. It shouldn't take 6 hours to paint either. You know, I'm gonna go to the studio, man, and then we go in there and we paint for like 5-6 hours, but we don't do any marketing. We don't do other stuff that is so important. It is extremely important to do other tasks for our art business or art career. I'm telling you guys something really important. Like this is the kind of stuff that was life-changing for me. It wasn't that, oh my God, I figured out how to paint. That's not what changed my life. Or, oh my God, I figured out how to sell artwork. That didn't change my life either. It did, but it didn't. It really didn't. Like the one thing that really began to change my life was my ability to carve out pieces of time and depositing all of my energy into them. That's like that. I still don't have it down because it's so ingrained in our human psyche to not do that. It's so ingrained in our human psyche to be like, oh my God, I got 10 minutes. Oh, okay, well, I'll just wait till tomorrow. There's only 10 minutes left. And it's like, no, dude, you got 10 minutes? Like, in 10 minutes, you could probably wash dishes, put a load of laundry, you know, in the washing machine. You probably do your bed, like make your bed and organize. Write your goals down in those 10 minutes. You probably could do like 3-4 things in 10 minutes. You probably, even if you're bad at it, can call 5 galleries in 10 minutes and tell them who you are and present yourself and let them know that you're looking for gallery representation and that you would like to talk to them. Set up an appointment in 10 minutes. Like, gaps of time that you fully invest yourself in are the major source, the major reason why we see successful people. It's gaps of time. When people become successful at something, I've noticed that. My life didn't start changing. Like, I started realizing how to sell stuff, and I was like, oh yeah. But that only took me to a comfortable place. Like, oh, I'm starting to make a little bit of money. That's awesome. That didn't change who I was. The thing that started changing me, that I started looking into bigger things, bigger opportunities, and on, was when I started to discipline myself in gaps of time. When I started looking at gaps of time, when I was like, oh man, like, I stopped looking at a day as a day. I stopped looking at a day. Like, again, this is something that I still have a hard time with, okay? I'm being honest with you guys. Every day I have to discipline and remind myself, because I still have a hard time with it, because I was conditioned to think of a day as a single event. Like, it's something that you do. Most people are like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to go to school. Yeah, and what else, you know? Well, I got school. Or tomorrow I got a test. Oh, okay, yeah. Like, we see things as events. I know it's so ingrained. My wife talks like that a lot too, and she's also learning. Like she used to tell me stuff like, oh, tomorrow we're gonna go to so-and-so's birthday party. I'm like, oh yeah. well, our day is going to be busy. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, why is it going to be busy? Because we're going to go spend 2-3 hours at a place. What happens to the rest of the 22 or 21 hours? We're going to sleep 8. Okay, you're left with what? With like 19 hours? What else are you going to do with that? I don't know. You sleep 8 or whatever. Let's say you're left with 12 hours. What are you going to do with that? With those 12 hours? See, your day shouldn't revolve around a single activity. It's stupid. It's. My mom used to tell me, wasted time. She used to tell me, saints cry over wasted time. Meaning people of high character, right? Just tell me saints. People of high character, high moral or high character, cry over wasted time. Wasted time is the resource that we waste the most. We constantly waste time because we turn activities into events, and those events suck the life out of us. So instead of looking at your day as a day, don't look at it as a day. If you're doing that, like I beg you, like, don't look at it as a day. Like, look at it for what it really is. It's an endless. It's got so many minutes of endless opportunity, and this is why I see people like thriving and people not, because we see time differently. For an artist who sees a day as a whole day, as just one thing, they're gonna say, well, I'm gonna start painting tomorrow, right? I'm gonna start painting. And for an artist who sees the day in chunks, in pieces, in 15-minute chunks or in 10-minute chunks, I'm like, oh my God, tomorrow I'm gonna do 30 different things, this, and that. See the difference between an artist that's like, tomorrow I'm going to do 30 different things. This is my to-do list, right? Because every 10 minutes I'm changing. This, by the way, I figured out when I was about 14 years old, and everybody told me I was fucking crazy. Everyone around me. I remember parents, brothers, sisters, friends, everybody told me I was crazy. They're like, you're crazy. I had to go to a training from a multi-million-dollar business owner. Not like a deca, like $100 million business, to relearn that again. I had to relearn that again. I spent my whole life thinking that my initial idea of chunking time into 10 minutes. See, because when you're young, you start realizing this stuff. You're like, oh man, like I got all this time. What can I do with it? Because you're not thinking about, oh, well, I'm 30, oh my God, life's going away, or 50, oh my God. You're not thinking like that. You're young, so you're like looking at life like this endless thing, which is not. But that's the way it feels in the beginning. When you're 12, 15, 18 years old, you look at it as this endless thing. And I remember when I was around 14 years old, I was like, oh my God, I got so much time. What can I do with it, right? I remember having this idea. I remember writing and being like, oh my God, how many minutes? The reason why I had this, just a second, guys. Hey guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to pick up a phone call. So, it's the chunks of time, guys. I remember realizing that when I was young. Well, I'm still young, but when I was a kid, I realized that and I was like, oh fuck, man, I have so much time. The reason why I stumbled upon this realization, this aha moment, as now everybody says aha, it's because I remember playing games. My mother used to be very productive. She was a very productive, very prolific woman. And she used to write songs, and she used to write poetry. So she had like hundreds of songs, if not maybe close to 1,000. And she used to tell me it's when I did a chore or something around the house, she used to tell me, if you plug yourself into the chore, right? If that's all you think about and that's all you're gonna do, you'll get it done in 5 minutes. I was like, in 5 minutes? Oh my God. She's like, yeah, try it. And so she would like time me. She'd play around and time me, right? And she'd be like, you got 10 minutes, go. You got 5 minutes, go. And I used to be a kid, right? I used to be like 10, 12, 13 years old. I used to be, I used to go so fast. One day when I was about 14 years old, she timed me to do 3 chores. It was like 3 chores, right? And she's like, she was trying to discipline me. That's what she was really trying to do. Her dad was an entrepreneur, I guess. Yeah, he was a rancher. He used to own cattle in Mexico. So he did very well for himself, and she had a good upbringing. And but then life happened, and it changed the course of her life. But my grandfather understood that, right? Because as most entrepreneurs understand the power of moving fast, the power of time, of crunching time. And so she played with me, right? She would tell me, you got 10 minutes, go, you got 5 minutes. And one time I was able to do 3 activities that would have normally taken me the whole fucking day. I was able to do them in about, I don't know, I think it was like 15, 20 minutes. Like, I moved so fast. Now, this doesn't mean that I did it perfectly. This meant that I got them done. And that's what she was trying to teach me. She was trying to teach me to get them done. She was not a perfectionist. It's such a blessing to live with someone who's not a perfectionist, to have grown up with someone who was very much results oriented, get it done, right? As opposed to, it doesn't look clean enough. My mother wasn't like that. My mother was get it done and move on to the next thing. The more you get it done, the cleaner it's going to look, the more organized it's going to look. Because as days go by, every day you're punching it, for 5-10 minutes. By the end of the week, it's like you put in, 30, 40, 50 minutes into it, right? But you're doing different stuff. So she taught me this, and I had this realization. I was like, oh, fuck, man, I can do anything, right? It's so fast. I realized the power of the human being. The human being is powerful. When you remove all the mechanics. But although she was like all about it with that, I wrote it down, and I was like, oh my God, I got so many minutes in a day, blah, blah. She was so happy. She was so happy that I finally understood that. But then my dad wasn't like my mom. My dad was like, oh my God, you can't live like that, right? Like in chunks of time. And then I would show it to other people, and they'd be like, oh, my brothers, or, they just didn't understand, They're like, oh my God, you can't act like a robot. You're not going to live like a robot. Like every 10 minutes, you're going to do something different. And I was like, oh, so after talking to enough people, I kind of got suckered out of it, and my life just went by, and I still had this idea that it was true, but I can't blame them. I didn't practice it. Later on, as I'm trying to build a business and whatnot, I stumbled upon this guy who runs over $100 million business a year, and then he starts teaching that. I pay attention to it, and then I realize, oh shit, this is the thing that I stumbled up when I was 14 years old. This is exactly it. And he says that is the way. He says that is the way to really build your business, to really grow. Now, you can't do everything yourself. You're going to have to get people involved. But in the beginning, you're doing everything. So you have to understand this. And even when you get people involved to help you, you still have to chunk your time like that. I mean, look at anyone out there doing something significant. Think of Beyonce. I was watching Beyonce last night. My wife I wasn't watching, I was listening. She was at Coachella, and my wife was listening to the replay or something, and on, I don't know, some video, and I started thinking about, she has all these performances and all these things, and I started thinking, man, this girl I wonder how much she works. I start thinking about all the rehearsals she has to do a day, the practices they have to rehearse with a band, and I was like, they can't do that for oh, we're gonna practice this for 5 hours. They have to be like, okay, it's 30 minutes this, 30 minutes that, 20 minutes this, 20-minute lunch, this, and then that, and then this, and then you have to go to the gym, and then you have to blah blah blah, and then you have to take care of. I think she has a daughter. Take care of that, and then and then other business stuff business can't be neglected. So I'm sure that there's some business in there, some stuff she has to sign, some business she has to see. Not just show business, but I'm sure she's got personal business too. She probably owns a bunch of real estate and shit like that, you know, because stars do that. They're very smart like that. It's not like the stars back in the day. So I started thinking about it. I was like, oh my God, this woman is a power. She's like a motor. She's a power. You know, she's just a powerhouse, man. I was like, wow. Anyways, I'll leave you guys with that. My name is Jose Trujillo. Take care. I get excited when I see people that are like doing very extraordinary stuff. To an untrained eye, it looks like, oh my God, she just, you know, sings and dances. You know, she's just shaking her body. Yeah, if you have an untrained eye, you don't understand. But to someone who understands, you know, time and effort and things that what do they take, you realize that, man, these people are such winners, man. They work so hard. You start understanding, you know, she has to wake up at a certain time and exercise, and then a certain diet, a certain food, a certain this, and then practice vocals, right? Practice dance, and on and on and on and on. It's all practice the songs too, not just the vocals. Write some songs down. Go into the studio, recording studio, and you know, a bunch of shit, man. And they have to be jumping. They're like grasshoppers. They jump and jump and jump. All right, guys, take care.